We already have some hands raised, which is great. People are anxiously wanting to talk to you, Matthew.
Great.
get some readings from you today.
Yeah.
All right, so one sec. Okay, so my voice doesn't sound too bad. You know, sometimes it's we ourselves that feel it or hear it differently than other people. All right.
Yeah, that is very true. It sounds to me.
All right, so we should be good. We should be streaming live. So I'm just going to come back here and I'm going to hit record. Give me one sec. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Laura Canfield Show, the Awaken Happiness Now Global Series. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Hopefully you can all see me okay. There we go. So today, my good friend Matthew John is back with us for a special show, a special call, and we're going to be talking about why everything could change in 2024 and to how to make it your best year yet. And so some of what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about why Pluto's and Jupiter's transits are likely to create a monumental change on the planet, what to expect from a numerological 8-year and why it may actually be a good thing, what world events to expect in 2024 in U.S.A, Canada, and the rest of the world, what you need to know to effectively use the law of attraction in an economic recession, how to find your service work when the planet needs you the most, how you can accelerate the path to merging with your twin flame or soulmate, and so much more. Of course, Matthew is going to be taking some live color questions today, doing some mini readings, and he's going to be leading the live viewers who are here with us right now through a 2024 highest possible timeline activation. And so, of course, you can always watch or listen again on YouTube or on the podcast to receive the activation again, right? So for those of you who don't know Matthew, he's been with us many, many times. We love having him on the show. I always come back with like major ahas, you know, clarification, wisdom, etc. So much. So I really enjoy these conversations with Matthew. So today, like I said, if you don't know Matthew, like I said, he's been with us many times. For sure, he's very gifted, very talented, and he is an internationally recognized spiritual teacher. He's an intuitive, a psychic, a medium, a trance channeler, an intuitive astrologer, a starseed guide, an energy healer, a medical intuitive, speaker, and spiritual life coach mentor, working with angels, archangels, ascended masters, and the Galactics. He is a gifted intuitive, a wisdom channeler, trance channel, and a transmitter of healing frequencies. So like I said, he is powerful, gifted, talented. So we have a lot available to us in store through Matthew with his wisdom, his experiences, his insights. And we are really looking forward to finding out, you know, what is 2024 going to be like for all of us, right? So we are going to be taking some live caller questions, some readings, etc. And so I know some of you have already got your hand raised, which is great. And so Matthew, I'm excited. So please, everyone, join me in welcoming Matthew back to the show.
Yes.
So yes, welcome back.
Hi, thanks for having me back. Really am very excited, and I think this is your season finale, right? So
it is, yes.
You always seem to have me on as either the season premiere or the season finale, and I'm very honored for both. And so yeah, it's going to be a great way to close out 2024 or 2023 as we enter into 2024.
Exactly. And so, you know, it's a major time of transition, right? For everyone, right? We're going through this transition of going through the holidays, ending 2023, beginning 2024. So there's a lot on our minds, right?
Yeah.
Personally, globally, you know, what's going on with the world, with our families, just everything. We're all thinking about, okay, what do we want to create for 2024? What can we expect in 2024? And at the same time, how can we end 2023 on a positive, calm completion type of note, right?
Yeah. And maybe that's the best place to start, is because, you know, we are wrapping up a year. And actually, you know, for those of you that, and there's a huge live Zoom audience right now, which I'm really thrilled. And I know a lot of people will be watching the recording. You know, if you're watching it before the end of 2023, we just had a full moon that was exact last night on Boxing Day, on the first night of Kwanzaa, December 26th. And this was, you know, the full moon that bookends, it puts a bow on 2023. And it was the most positive. It is, you know, we're on it right now. It is the most positive full moon of the entire year, which is pretty cool to end 2023 on such an energetically high note. It's a full moon in Cancer, but Jupiter is making very benevolent aspects to both the sun and the moon, a trine and a sextile. Saturn is also making a trine and a sextile to the moon, and Saturn has been very softened in Pisces. Well, we'll get into Saturn a little bit today because Saturn's got this Jekyll and Hyde character to it. But in this context, Saturn in Pisces being all about spiritual evolution is the word, and very powerful dreams and prophecies that people are receiving, connections, you know, communication with the other side. That's making very nice aspects to this full moon. And this full moon is also it's happenstancing with Chiron, the wounded healer, which in astrology is known as the most important asteroid. It represents, it's known as colloquially the wounded healer in astrology. It represents both our most wounded self, which actually comes over from other lifetimes and childhood. And it also represents our highest destiny, especially as healers. That's why it's called the wounded healer, because all healers, in reality, myself, you, all of us, we come from some sort of trauma, illness, tragedy, etc. We come from woundings, right? Our healership develops from wounding. So not only is this full moon to end the year very beneficial overall, very lucky, fortunate overall. Jupiter in Taurus is already a very fortunate aspect, and it's really, really just, I mean, it's such a close orb of the trine and the sextile to the full moon that it's really, really pouring in this very lucky, fortunate, prosperous, benevolent energy. But it's not just about that. It's also about harnessing this good fortune energy to really step us into our healership, is the word I like to use. Step us into our destiny as healers, as light workers, as service workers on this planet. In fact, the Chiron station, which I started talking about, is conjunct the North Node in Aries, and the North Node represents our soul's destiny on the earth. The North Node on an individual level represents the direction that our soul is driving us forward on this planet. On a collective level, the North Node represents the direction that the collective is being driven forward by the collective oversoul. So on a personal level, this is an opportunity for us to transmute our wounds, our pain, our trauma into stepping up into being the most refined, newest, most high vibrational version of self that is going to really be stepping up the game as far as being healers and awakeners and light workers on this planet. And actually, what part of the work we're going to do today, and I'm so glad that so many people are on the live call, is we're going to be doing a timeline activation to move you into a higher timeline, to your highest possible timeline, so that you're going to ride this wave of energy, of good energy, into 2024 and really be able to fully embrace and embody and be grounded in the true healer and the true awakener, the true activator, the true light worker, the true service worker that you can be. And the other great thing about this full moon that is ending 2023 is that it's the matriarchy, it's the divine feminine, it's Cancer. Every time we have a full moon in Cancer Capricorn, it's about how do we balance the divine feminine and the divine masculine? How do we balance yin and yang? How do we balance the right brain and the left brain? How do we balance the matriarchy and the patriarchy? How do we balance the feminine energies in all ways that they manifest, and the masculine energies in all ways that they manifest, both on a personal level and on a global level, right? So we have the opportunity right now to really focus on the feminine aspects of life, and that's for everyone, man, woman, other. And to focus on the feminine aspects, you know, first of all, anything that helps you really feel, you know, it kind of embraced and at home in the feminine energy. So any, you know, for some people it's dance, for some people it's singing, for some people it's doing a ritual on their altar, etc. But not just that, it's also about the feminine energies within us. And the feminine energies within us are the energies of trust, of intuition, of flow, right? The left brain is, we need it. It's necessary to live life in human form. And we could say that's Capricorn. The left brain is the logical mind. It's like, it's thinking through life. Okay. Planning out, thinking. And there's a time and a place for that. Capricorn season, we also do need to focus on that. But as soon as the Cancer, and that's kind of been the focus since the solstice, as soon as the Cancer full moon hits, it's like, okay, now we really shift our focus to the other side of that, which, as I said, is the intuition, the flow, flowing through life, feeling through life. Like, one of the things I'm most proud of myself personally, as far as my 2023, is that I've become better than in any previous year in my life of feeling through life versus thinking through life. And I have found my best decisions come from feeling through life. The coolest, most magical experiences, and this was a great year for me, happened through feeling through life rather than there may have been some logical planning after I followed the feeling, but it was feeling through life. And that's Cancer. That's the feminine frequencies. So I'd love to hear in the chat, and, you know, anyone that wants to share, like, what were you most proud of in 2023? How did you become more refined? How have you become more spiritually elevated, more spiritually mature? How have you stepped deeper into your healership, into your service work, into your service mission right now versus at the end of 2022? I'd love to see some people in the chat. And, you know, Alara, how about you? What was the thing you really developed this year?
Well, for me, it was the trusting in the divine, trusting in the journey. You know, that's been a big, really trusting, not just saying I'm going to trust, but truly trusting,
right?
And really feeling that trust and flowing with it, right?
And
And
you were in a big
acting on it.
transition this
Yes.
year, right? So you really had to, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, that's been a big learning and a big going deeper into that trust.
Right.
I you know, because as much as I've trusted before, it was not always, you know, as deep, because I am a thinker.
Me too.
You know, so
Yeah,
I
me
do
too.
think,
Yeah.
and I try to figure out and plan and think, but the trusting and going with that flow it really makes everything just fall into place more smoothly and flow.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I found really happened this year a lot.
Yeah, and that's the essence of the Cancer energies, of the feminine energies right there. And, you know, I would say it's so important. It's no coincidence that, you know, this year, you know, the transition from 2023 to 2024, we're having this Cancer full moon with all these Jupiter aspects and the Saturn aspects that is leading us in it. You know, last year, the Cancer full moon occurred on the other side. It occurred in January 2023. So we can think of that 2023 was really bookended actually by these Cancer full moons. And it's meant to be that this Cancer full moon this time around is actually pushing us, leading us into 2024, which we're going to talk about at length today. But
I just want to comment something on what Bridget wrote in the chat.
Absolutely.
And it's about acknowledging the synchronicities, right? So really acknowledging those the synchronicities or the for me the trust and being in the flow, acknowledging that helps you to recognize them more in your life as they show up as well, right? So acknowledgement is huge for sure. So that's wonderful, Bridget.
Absolutely. And it's like, it's one of the most common questions that people ask me is like, you know, or frustrations that people express to me, that they feel like they can't hear their guides. They feel like that, or they can't hear their loved ones from the other side, right? Or they feel like, you know, other people, like they see me like, oh, you have such this amazing connection with your guides and your channel and all that. Like, what about me? Why can't I do that? And the number one obstacle, it's kind of ironic, is the belief in it. When one isn't really seeing the signs or hearing the signs, they're just not paying attention and giving acknowledgement to the signs that are already there. And the signs are and synchronicities are very subtle, at least at first. Like when one is first waking up to the spiritual journey, oftentimes they're very subtle. And the more you start to recognize them, you realize, oh wow, I just walked outside, to take my trash can out, and a fox ran across the street. Whoa. In before spiritual awakening, you might think, oh, it's a fox. Or someone who was in fear might think, oh, it's a rabbit, right? What's it doing in my neighborhood? Right? Someone post spiritual awakening is like, oh, what does that mean? What does that mean? And then you think, oh, you think back to have you seen a fox in dreams? Did a fox mean something to, any of your ancestors? Or just simply, what is the, spirit animal kind of meaning of a fox? It's about fun and curiosity and spontaneity and letting loose, right? Every time I see a fox in my life, because I'm a hard worker, as you know, I'm bordering on a workaholic, if not maybe a workaholic. And
Yeah.
like every time a fox come across my path, I know it's my dad from the other side, like reminding me, like, Matt, take a break, do
Yeah.
something fun for a couple hours or a day, because like, you're doing too much here. So yeah, the synchronicities, the more you pay attention to them, the more you see them, the more you feel them, the more you start to hear the guidance directly. It's about paying attention to what's already there. That's the key.
Yeah, absolutely. And trusting, like Tina's saying, and surrendering, like Layla's saying, surrendering to the experience, surrendering to what is,
Yeah.
all key points. So I'm so glad you're all sharing that and you're experiencing that in your life this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And so as we, start to think about like, okay, this is a very special week as we put a bow on a year that was. It was a crazy year around the planet, as was expected. 2024 will be very likely another crazy year around the planet. But what's important as we go through this, masterclass today is to separate out there versus in here, because throughout human history, there has never been even a year where there wasn't some sort of conflict going on out there, except for maybe, I don't know, the heydays, the most enlightened periods of Atlantis and Lemuria, maybe, right? But other than that, there's always been conflict. There's always been injustice. There's always been greed. There's always been control, manipulation. There's always been all of these energies throughout human history. The difference is that nowadays the technology is better and we hear about things instantly where we didn't used to. And actually, some of you that are of the generation before me will remember a time when you had to read about things in the newspaper the next day, right? Where now it's like literally instantly anything happens, you see it on your phone and immediately get that, rush of anxiety, right, from whatever's happening. And we've become so kind of on edge as humans in general because of that, right? So I am happy to talk about like my predictions for 2024 a little bit here, because I find it fun. Actually, I find it interesting to try to relate the astrology, the numerology to like world events and what may happen. That being said, we need to separate that from our world, our bubble of our world, because the two things are unless it's directly affecting you, like unless it's literally happening in your town, in your city, in your state, it's almost more of an illusion a lot of times to really get sucked into what's going on in the outside world, because it's happening, it's playing out on your phone screen, on your laptop screen, and on your television screen. It's not happening in your immediate world. Regardless of what happens in the outside world in 2024, you have the opportunity in your immediate world, in your bubble of influence, and in your internal world to make it literally the best year you've ever had. And that's not an exaggeration. And I'm not just trying to put on a rose-colored glasses. I swear, this can be the absolute best year. Just like there was so much fear that people had coming into 2023, right, about what was going to happen during 2023, Pluto, entering into Aquarius for the first time. Is there going to be, economic disaster? Is there going to be world war? Are there going to be, large scale blackouts, power outages, solar flares, all sorts of conspiracy theories about things, right? Well, yeah, there has been a lot of war, but if your soul didn't intentionally incarnate you in Israel, in Gaza, in the Ukraine, in Russia, if your soul incarnated you, let's say in the West, right? There's a reason for that. That those parts of the world that are affected by war, and this is kind of a tough reality, and it's hard to accept, but the way I've been taught from those beings above me and from my guides, etc., is that there are no coincidences as to when and where someone decides to be born and when and where someone decides to exit. During the COVID pandemic, right? I mean, we saw more death on the planet in a very short period of time than in a very long time in the planet's history. It is my understanding that all those souls that left, and if you lost someone, I knew a lot of people that passed from COVID, and my heart goes out to you. But from a soul level, those souls have chosen that, and from a soul level, those that are in areas of war or natural disaster or will be in 2024, that's the soul's choosing, because it's a collective experience to be in a war zone or to be let's say a part of a group, an ethnic group or a political group that is suppressed, or to be in an area where a pandemic, let's say more locally, sweeps through, or a tsunami hits or a volcano hits or whatever. Those are collective soul experiences that are being chosen. If you are not meant to be there, you won't. And that's why it actually is more of an illusion to be afraid of what's might happen in the outside world, because the reality is, if your soul has chosen a specific path of service work, a specific path of light work in this life, you will be kept out of trouble. You will be kept out of any situations that would take you away from that greater mission. Whereas those that are in these parts of the planet where really awful things are happening, again, it's a collective experience that those souls have chosen to take a part in, because there's certain karmic lessons, both individually, collectively, as far as families and groups, and also they're playing. If you think about, if all 8 billion people are actors, and those that are in those areas of the world, they're playing out a play, although it's a disgusting and violent in a lot of ways, and really disheartening play to see, but it's showing the world where we're at as a collective. It's showing the world the spiritual discordance that exists in the collective of humanity, and that's what allows those that are in safety and those that are not subject to those experiences right now to be able to further their spiritual evolution, so that then continues to leak out to the collective and raise the overall vibration of the collective, until eventually, years down the line, it ain't going to be this year, it ain't going to be next year, it ain't going to be this decade, I'll tell you that, but years and years down the line, when we have reached the vibrational set point that we don't need war anymore, then we'll be there. We're being shown that we need war right now. And the astrology shows us that too. The astrology shows us that very, very clearly. Okay. With, when Jupiter was in Aries, that was when the Russia-Ukraine war really took off and got worse. It was when Jupiter was in Pisces, right before it entered Aries, that the war began. Jupiter and Aries coincide with World War II. We had the North Node enter Aries. Okay, Aries is the sign of war because it's ruled by Mars. Mars is the planet of war. And we had the North Node, which is again the overall collective's direction. That is it. There's nothing wrong. It's intentional. It's an intentional desire from the collective unconscious of all of humanity to have these certain experiences. And the Aries North Node time is about more war. Okay. After the North Node entered Aries, it was a couple months after when Pluto, which is Pluto and Mars are the planets of war. Pluto is more about power. Mars is about violence. And when Pluto's stationed, and when a planet stations, like Chiron is stationing today, it has its most influence that it ever has. It's like it's moving along, it's having some influence, and then it just stops. It just stops and says, "Here I am, right? I'm gonna influence you, right?" So when it was literally the day that Pluto stationed, that was October 7th, when Hamas attacked Israel and started the whole conflict, right? And it's very likely that 2024, with the North Node in Aries for the entire year, with Saturn and Pisces for the entire year. Saturn and Pisces is what can be a wonderful, wonderful aspect where it is literally creating spiritual awakening, because it's giving us the opportunity to know ourselves on a much deeper level than we're used to. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. It's the ruler of the house of the unconscious. Pisces represents all things that we don't see. The other 11 signs represents all things that we can see, right? So with Saturn being in Pisces, and Saturn is the planet of past lives and karma. So it's helping all, not just like the light workers like us, but everyone to become more aware of their nature from, who they were in past lifetimes, even who they were, like one of my favorite things I like to do in my work is help people understand who they were from the stars, right? Being starseeds, being galactic souls that have come into the human experience, right? So Saturn is causing this mass spiritual awakening, but the other side of Saturn in Pisces, every time Saturn is in Pisces, and especially with Neptune being in Pisces as well, we have fanaticism, religious fanaticism, and ethnic fanaticism, state fanaticism, where groups of people become fanatical about who they are, and it becomes this intense separation conscious, because Pisces represents separation conscious. It's the two fish. What is the glyph of Pisces? It's right behind me, right? But it's the two fish swimming in opposite directions, meaning it's like, no, I'm right, you're wrong. No, I'm right, you're wrong. Screw you, right? It's the fish swimming in opposite directions. And because of that, it's about stark duality. The age of Pisces, as a planetary age of 2,160 years, we're getting ready to exit. 2043, we'll find ourselves moving from the age of Pisces into the planetary age of Aquarius, right? But the age of Pisces has been on this planet about this intense duality between the upper classes and the lower classes, the haves and the have-nots, races, religions, right? So what we're seeing in 2024 with Neptune and Saturn, both in Pisces and actually getting within 10 degrees of each other, is this intense fanaticism where the wars, Russia, Ukraine, Israel versus the Arab, nations and factions, etc., very likely will not only not stop, but likely get much worse. And it's very likely, and what I've been shown is that as different other Arab factions, nations may get involved, and we may have an explosion of war in the Middle East. That being said, if you're not there, you're not meant to be there. And if you're not there, you can do light work. You can do light work to assist in finding peaceful solutions. You can do light work to send love and light and this necessary energy of healing to all those that are involved, all those that are affected. But at the same time, it's your role. That's not your role. If you're there, then it's your role. If you're not there, your role is to create the new earth from where you're at, because the new earth can only be created from places of safety. The new earth can't be created from places of war, right? That's one of the ironies that the elites have pitched to us, not just in the modern day. George Orwell, 1984, okay, this was certainly a big theme there, but way before that, all throughout history, medieval times, etc., that in order to create peace, you must have war. And it's bullshit. War makes more war, and peace makes more peace, okay? And we knew this in the 60s, and a lot of the astrology is not me. My mom and my dad did, and maybe some of you, right? But we'll work. There's a lot of 60s astrology coming back in 2024, which we're going to have to talk about next. But I don't want to talk for too long. I know I saw something was on your mind right there.
No, I mean, I totally agree. You know, like our job as light workers, as people who work with light, is to raise the vibration frequency on the planet, is to assist where we can, however we can.
Yeah.
In but based on peace, right? Not on fear, but based on peace and love and understanding, you know, for humanity, right? And so we can all do that from wherever we are. That's not something that we and we should honestly be, you know, working on sending out more light so that we can continue to increase the vibration frequency on the planet so that we can have change moving forward, sustainable change moving forward, right?
So what we want to do, and absolutely, and what we want to do, the way I see it as light workers, is we're creating the new earth from a place of safety. Those of us that are fortunate enough to be in place of safety, right? We're creating the new earth from here, and we're creating models, mini models of the new earth. Okay. I was just at I was so fortunate to be asked to speak at this amazing spiritual conference back in November called Stairway to the Stars in Las Vegas. It was this, you know, conference of just the best, brightest, people in the new age field, like from all around the world. And it was this, like, you know, we did this. It took place at a Las Vegas casino, at a Las Vegas casino that people told me, like, that's like literally the worst place in Vegas. It's cursed. There's so many people have died there. It's like got really bad energy, right? And this conference for a weekend, we took over the whole casino and made it into this just incredible exposition of light. And it was like this mini spiritual city within the exhibition rooms for 3 days. And you know, like that's an example. Like everyone that came, not just the speakers, the exhibitors, but you know, thousands of people bought tickets and participated. We created this mini little new earth just for 3 days. Okay, little model of like how we treat each other, hugs and love and dancing and celebration and speaking about high vibrational things and mass meditations, etc. Right? And that's why I love, like, I put on a lot of retreats, and I love going to these speaking conferences. The next one I'm doing is the Conscious Life Expo in Los Angeles in a couple weeks. And these events, right? And not just these events, but also a lot of light workers that have started to create actual spiritual communities, and not spiritual communities like used to exist, you know, let's say back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, which were largely cults, let's be honest. You know, even Osho's, if you ever watched Wild Wild Country, that documentary, like even that was a cult, right? But non-culty, actual spiritual communities where essentially it's just people that have shared, you know, pitching on a property together and are living off grid together, where they're growing food collectively. You know, they're using solar panels, they're collecting rainwater, they're teaching their kids together, which is really, this is exactly how the Pleiadians do everything. It's like, it's so cool to see. And also in Lemuria, this is how we lived life in Lemuria, was just like this, where we built all these little communities where we were all raising each other's kids together and you know, sharing in our organic food, etc. Now, albeit, you know, most of these communities up to this point are in Ecuador, they're in Costa Rica, they're in Peru, you know, Mexico. There's not a lot yet in the United States because, you know, things are a little tighter. There's a lot more restrictions on what you can and can't do in the US or in Canada. But it's going to just start to proliferate more and more around the world. And one of the cool things is, like, okay, so we have Pluto entering into Aquarius, right? And a lot of you might have already heard about this. I talk about it all the time. This is the grandest, most important transit in astrology since 2020, when we had Jupiter and Saturn conjunct, and Saturn and Pluto conjunct, and Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto were doing this dance together, which launched the COVID pandemic, right? Something was going to happen in 2020 with all these big heavyweight planets getting together in Capricorn, and Capricorn can be very, very, harsh, and it certainly has been and was. So since then, this is the biggest astrological transit is Pluto, which is the outermost planet. So the outer planets have more of an effect on the collective than on the individual. And the Pluto is the outermost planet. So Pluto divides our world and our world history into epochs, okay? So into eras. And Pluto's eras are 16 to 24 years in length, right? So we're wrapping up a 16-year era or epoch from 2008 to 2024, which was Pluto and Capricorn. Pluto and Capricorn. We're in Capricorn season right now. Capricorn's a wonderful sign. It's about connecting with the earth. It's about legacies, right? It's about your structures. Like literally, without the energy of Capricorn, there would be no roads, there would be no airplanes, there would be no homes, there would be no factories, there would be none of that. We'd be living primitively, right? So Capricorn's a wonderful thing, but Capricorn is hierarchical in nature, okay? So because it's ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is a hierarchical in nature planet where it's a pyramid type structure. So during the 16 years of Pluto and Capricorn, 2008 to 2024, I like to, kind of describe it as we've seen the proliferation of hyper capitalism, disaster capitalism to the nth degree. It's like the last just intense foray of the darkness of the planet into this hyper capitalism. The oligarchies of the planet, which really are in charge of things, have just created this system where it's a vacuum that has sucked the money and the energy from the lower classes of the planet, and there's no country on the planet that's exempt from this, to an extent that we've never seen in human history, where the gap between not just the 1%, but the 0.001% and the 99.999% has become so wide that it's literally a handful of people now controlling the entire world's wealth. Elon Musk, okay, in 2004 had a net worth of 2 billion. 2023, his net worth is 237 billion, okay? So that's $233 billion, which is more than the GDP of most countries. That literally, that amount of wealth could feed the entire world. 1/3 of planet Earth is actively starving. It's worse now than it's been in a long time as far as planetary starvation. We're 1/3, we're talking about almost 3 billion people are actively starving, okay? And that money, that 233 billion, right, could feed every person on the planet for a year or longer. And it's sick, right? But that was Pluto and Capricorn. Pluto and Capricorn was this hyper disaster, greed, parasitical capitalism to the absolute nth degree. Now, when Pluto moves into Aquarius, it is a stark contrast, because Capricorn is hierarchical in nature, where Aquarius is egalitarian in nature. The nature of Aquarius itself is egalitarian, okay? In the 60s, I told you we talk about the 60s, when my parents were hippies and dropping acid at every music festival, okay? And I think that's probably how they met, right? But back in the 60s, we had this lineup of 9 planets in Aquarius for a certain time. It was 1963, and a lot of people that were born, during that time, like carry that. It was eight planets, sorry, carry that intense Aquarian frequency with them, and they're part of the ones that are leading this Aquarian revolution, as is gonna intensify more and more over the next couple decades. And back in 1968-69, we also had a Jupiter and Uranus conjunction, okay? And that's something that is going to repeat in 2024. On Earth Day, April 20th, 2024, which is also the birth date of my new puppy, Buddha. My mom and I got a new puppy. So But so on his birthday and on Earth Day, we're going to have a Jupiter-Uranus conjunction where they're going to meet in Taurus, which is earthy. Taurus is about the environment, right? But Uranus is about revolution, and it's about technology, okay? It is the ruler of Aquarius. It's also about egalitarianism. What is, just and fair for all? How can collectives all work together as one? How can collectives all join together as one, like the hippie kumbaya vibe of the 60s, right? So 1968-69 on a technological, in the technological sphere, we had the moon landings. We had the first Apollo moon landings, right? At least we think. Did we really? I don't know. Supposedly, some people say Stanley Kubrick on his deathbed, confessed that they were filmed in a Hollywood studio. And the Red Hot Chili Peppers song, right? Space might be the final frontier, but it's filmed in a Hollywood basement, right? I don't know. Je ne sais pas. But regardless, it was, whether it was real or not, it was kind of this exposition of technological revolution, right? Which coincided with Jupiter and Uranus. So, but not only that, this was the peak of the anti-Vietnam protests, 1968-69, right? This is when, everyone, my parents, etc., were like, fuck school, fuck college, fuck 9-to-5 jobs, fuck all of this, let's just go drop acid and just, live as one, because this world, Nixon, fuck all this war, right? That was the Aquarian vibe. And that coincided with the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. So we're going to see, so not only that, we have Pluto in Aquarius, entering into Aquarius, where it will be for the next 20 years, right? And that happens on January 21st. So we're only 4 weeks away. Not even 4 weeks away. And that Jupiter in Uranus conjunction coinciding with Pluto and Aquarius it's the doorway. We're in 2024, we open the door and we take our first step as a collective into the Aquarian age, into the age of Aquarius. This is what it means. Jupiter gives life, gives growth to whatever it comes into conjunction with. Okay. It's coming into conjunction with Uranus, which is the ruler of Aquarius. It's giving life. It's like taking a lighter and lighting the candle that is the age of Aquarius. Okay. Look, a lot of people, going back to the harmonic convergence of 1986, going back to the supposed pole shifts of 98 to 2001, going back to the Mayan calendar ending in 2012, going back to the conjunctions of 2020, have used those dates, in particular 86, 2000, 2012, 2020, as like, we're in the age of Aquarius. The way I see it, those have been previews. They've been energetic previews in the collectives, of what the age of Aquarius is going to be, right? That the fifth dimension song, this is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Everyone sing age of Aquarius, right? That was in the 60s, right? All of this stuff started in the 60s, then the harmonic convergence of 86. Each was a little step forward, right? If you think of it as like God or source or the universe with a dropper, like, when you use a herbal tincture and you're using a dropper, it's like, okay, the first couple drops were in the 60s, then more drops in 86, the harmonic convergence, which I was born like right during the harmonic convergence, essentially, by the way, right? And then after that, okay, 2000, and then 2012, and then it's like it starts to pour and pour. 2020, and now 2024, it's like a tap, like turning a tap on of the Aquarian energy. The Pluto in Aquarius age lasts from 2024 through 2043, 2044. The most Western astrologers concur that the planetary age of Aquarius, from an astronomy standpoint, and astronomy astrology are intertwined naturally, is 2043, 2044. So anywhere between 2042 and 2044 is when we truly enter the age of Aquarius from a planetary standpoint, right? We may be in the shadow, kind of in the intermediary between Pisces and Aquarius, again, the age of Pisces on the planet has been marked by stark duality, contrast, factions, right? Dualistic factions that can't seem to get along with each other. Whereas as we step into the planetary age of Aquarius, it's about equality and living as one collective. And as a corollary, we will see, vibrationally speaking, our collective raise, notch very slowly at first, but then it'll take off more. Spiritual evolution is logarithmic, by the way. Okay, it starts very slow and then it picks up speed. It's not like that. It's like this. And as a collective, we got to get through the muck. We got to get through the tough shit first of all of the wars on this planet. That the 2020s, I'm just going to be honest with you, are very likely going to be marked by World War. Okay, and we're already at the beginning of it. It started with Russia, Ukraine. Now, Israel and the Arab nations, and over the next couple of years, we're going to probably see nonstop conflict in the Middle East, in Russia, and in other areas of the planet, in Europe as well. And it just is what it is. And I don't want to just say anything's out for sure. It's just what I've been shown. It's what the Sirians have told me. It's what I've seen. It's what the astrology tells the story of. Okay. Uranus and Gemini. Uranus moves into Gemini in 2025. Uranus and Gemini coincided with the American Revolution, with the French Revolution. The other thing about this whole idea of revolution, okay, when it comes to this Aquarian energy, we saw 1775 and 1778. I just mentioned the American Revolution and the French Revolution, right? We also did see that Jupiter Uranus conjunction happen as well. Again, Jupiter giving life to that idealistic and that revolutionary energy of Aquarius. So how does that actually manifest on the planet? Well, there's likely going to be, over the next couple of years, a lot of revolutions. Like Peru just had a revolution that was squashed, last year. And a lot of countries around the world are going to see some sort of revolution, overthrows of power, okay, potentially dictators getting overthrown around the world. In general, in every country, even the Western countries, which see relative stability, as crazy as the politics are in the United States, it's a lot more stable than in other countries. There will be lots of this rhetoric and this groupthink that will be like, oh, we're done with being controlled by thee. We're done with the rules for me, not for thee. We're done with this just sense of, us being the proletariat and just, you guys can do whatever you want, right? And as a corollary to that, we'll see more and more suppression of information. Okay. That's another thing about when Uranus enters into Gemini in 2025. Do you think censorship is bad right now on YouTube? And it is bad, right? It's going to get worse. It's going to get way worse in 2024, leading into 2025. So it's these two, everything is a reflection of everything else, but there's going to be a lot of this revolutionary energy, right? We've got elections coming up, we've got, who knows coming up, but anyways, I don't want to talk too much.
Yeah, so there's a lot coming up, but again, even with the wars, the conflicts, everything that's coming up, it still is an opportunity for all of us to go within and focus on ourselves and do our work as well. And so if 2024 is going to be the beginning of the getting into the Aquarian age, what does that mean for us individually, personal, well, not personally per se, but more at an individual level? Because I'm trying to think like, okay, so what is it going to mean for me for the next 20 years from 2024 to 2044?
Absolutely. Well, on a personal level, you can look at where is Aquarius in your chart, which house is that in? That's going to show you. Okay. That's how, if you want to look at the effect of whether it's the full moon or the new moon or an eclipse or any of the outer planets, look to what house in your chart and look to what planets in your chart. Now, a lot of you are probably thinking or saying out loud, like, how? I don't know how to do that. I'm not an astrologer. You're the astrologer. You tell me, right? Well, that's what I'm here for. And we've got a number of special offer packages, and package B and C include private readings with me. I literally have availability as soon as January 1st, like New Year's Day. Okay. So if you want to start off your 2024 with a reading, and I'm happy to look at your astrology, I'm happy to tell you how all this will influence you. and what the outlook for you can be will be for 2024. And also I'd love to do some readings on today's call. But from, that's how you really know how it's going to affect you. But overall, just think about, okay, we're moving from this energy of like structure. Capricorn is not just about hierarchy, but it's about structure, stability, kind of. You could think of it as, although a lot has changed over the last 16 years on the planet, at the same time, think of it as the elites have just continued to put band-aids over these really deep and very real societal problems, right? Now, there is this nefarious side of things that maybe that's intentional, maybe they want to make things worse, right? But if or think of it as just the stars have continued to put band-aids over all these really, really crucial society problems. Number one on the top of the list is the intense gap between wealth and poverty, right? And now that Pluto is moving to Aquarius, those band-aids they're going to fall off. In your life, where have you put band-aids over things? Your health, your finances, maybe you've been in a career, in a job that you felt just stuck in, right? Maybe it is in a Capricorn-esque or Saturn-esque hierarchy at work, right? Where have you felt like you've continued to put band-aids over your life? With Pluto transiting into Aquarius, which is a very different energy. It's an energy of truth. It's an energy of freedom. And it's an energy of innovation, okay? The solution to these band-aids in your life, or these things that haven't gone, as you have wanted, maybe ideally, is to innovate, to be creative, to step out of maybe the fear, and to step out of maybe the structure of life that you've known, and into something new that you're maybe not used to, that maybe involves taking some risks. Okay. Aquarius is the absolute risk taker in astrology. Okay. It is the planet of risk taking, of courage, of spontaneity. Okay. And because Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, this transit of Pluto into Aquarius carries that energy very strongly with it. So that's how I would look at it on a personal level. Okay. Where have you gotten stuck or continue to put band-aids over things? And as the energies shift to this Pluto and Aquarius, your soul, the universe, the stars, whatever you want to term that, is likely going to force your hand to move. Because the other thing about the North Node in Aries, so as I said, I was born like right around the harmonic convergence. So harmonic convergence happened with the North Node in Aries. Okay. I'm having my North Node return right now because I'm a North Node Aries, and we're having North Node Aries season right now. And North Node Aries on a personal level is about leadership and courage. Those are the key words: leadership and courage, and pushing forward with what you're creating on your own, without assistance, because the opposite vibration of Aries is Libra, where you're leaning on something for safety and support. Aries is about fearlessly moving forward into what you're creating as your highest destiny. So although in one sense, yeah, this Aries North Node, we can probably anticipate natural disasters and war getting worse on the planet. On a personal level, and also from the perspective of groups, of collectives, of businesses that are going to be innovating, okay? The other thing about Pluto and Aquarius is technology. When Pluto first kind of took its little dip, its preview into Aquarius earlier this year, okay, that was January and February. That was when ChatGPT was released, okay? It's when Lensa AI was released. It's when all these AI platforms were released. And now you can't, go 5 minutes on the internet without seeing ads for AI stuff, right? AI programs, etc. Okay, most, even astrologers and even psychics are like using AI to their advantage now. So if you think about like technology as a graph, like, we may have been like here over the past I don't know, well, past 100 years we've been like that. It's going to go like that. Okay, it's going to go parabolic, and you're going to see over the next 20 years. You know, you think Teslas are cool? You're going to see flying Teslas very soon. You're going to see very soon gas cars be outlawed. You're going to see very soon driving yourself be either outlawed or very, very limited. And, you know, everything is going to be just self-driven, guided by AI. You know, the opportunity to for people that have the money, you know, to go explore space, for example, right? That just started happening over the past couple of years, but now with Pluto and Aquarius, more and more people are going to get to go in you know, in aircrafts that are able to actually go above the earth and go into space, to travel to, you know, private travel to the moon is going to become a thing soon. You know, eventually private travel to Mars. The other thing is about, you know, Aquarius having to do with technology, is as a planet, as we increase kind of the level of our, you know, think about if you're an extraterrestrial and you're flying by Earth in your craft, and you just have a peek at Earth, right? And you are seeing, like, you know, cities in China and Bangladesh that are just like, well, not China actually, but cities in, like, you know, poorer countries, African countries, that are just like rubble. Okay, people starving, and then you're flying over other countries like the U.S. and you're seeing all these people driving around in, like, beat up 1994 Honda Civics, burning toxic gasoline that's creating toxic fumes that is depleting the ozone layer, creating this greenhouse effect where, all, you know, now the heat is being trapped in the planet, and the temperature's rising, and the ice caps are melting. And now, God, my neighbor, he's like, he told me last week, he's like, Matt, I can't even keep my house in Florida, like, I don't think past a year or two. They're raising the insurance rate so high because there's so much flooding where I'm at, because the sea level is rising in Florida. And it's like, if you're an alien and you see all this, you're like, Screech, it's okay. I'll let you guys do your own thing. Let's go explore a different planet. How's Venus doing, right? You're like, wow, these people here they got some work to do, right? But over the next 20 years, as we see this technological revolution on the planet, we see things like flying cars. We see things like private travel to other planets. We see us leaving behind fossil fuels completely. I don't think fossil fuels will make it past 2030. I really don't. I don't think we'll be burning gasoline or natural gas or maybe anything past 2030, right? But that's the positive aspect of Pluto and Aquarius, is we're going to see this technological revolution on the planet that we have not seen since Atlantis.
So a lot of growth coming for
Yeah.
all of us. So change, lots of change as well.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I love change. I love growth. I love expansion. Right.
Lori, Lori says, hey, how did you know what I tried? Well, I am psychic. How many
True.
miles on your beat up 94 Honda Civic, Lori? I'd love to hear.
All right. Where are we at? Did you want to take did you want to do some readings? We haven't done any readings yet.
Yeah, and then we you know, we got to do timeline activation. So if we're gonna do a reading, you know, why don't you, I always like when people ask me questions, either ask me a specific question about what I see for 2024, or ask me, like, about how to overcome whatever your biggest obstacles are right now to lead you into the best possible 2024.
Okay, cool. And I think most people have already raised their hand. So I think we're gonna go with Rosemary.
Yeah. 160,000 miles in Lori's Honda Civic. That is fantastic. And I had a lot of beat up cars throughout my life, and I still drive a gas car. I can't afford a Tesla right now. I would love to. I would love to switch to an electric car. I just can't afford it right now. But I think eventually electric cars are going to become just as cheap as gas cars. I think within a year or two, maybe two to 3 years at most. And it'll just kind of be what everyone's driving around, which, you know, the Jupiter and Uranus conjunction Taurus that's also about technological revolution because again, 1969 was the moon landing, right? 1899 was a Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, and that was when the Wright brothers first started experimenting with gliders, and that started the trajectory towards them making the first airplanes, right? So we've seen technological revolution also coincide with that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. So, and with it being in Taurus, it's about the Earth. It's about sustainable energy. Okay. My belief is that eventually we'll head into scalar technologies. And my belief is that the scalar technologies already exist. And I think they're being hidden by militaries and, U.S. especially, because oil is still the most profitable thing on the planet. And until they take every drop of oil from the earth, they'll continue to perpetuate it. And then once that's all gone, then it'll be like, oh, now everyone switched to electric cars. And then it's already happening because they're already anticipating running out of oil, I believe. And but I think, see, the electric vehicles and things that are run on, things that are run with connection to 5G and then 6G, and yeah, it may not be great for the body, but at the same time, our bodies are adapting to the new frequencies, which is really interesting. But that'll be just the intermediary, and eventually it'll be scalar energy does not work on a frequency band as like 4G, 5G, or 6G just. So have you had Tom Palladino on ever? Right?
Yeah, we did. We had him.
So like he creates scalar technologies that is used for healing. Scalar technology is the energy of the sun, right? It's the energy that stars run on. It's not on the same frequency band. Okay, it's closer to light than it is to microwave frequencies, or 5G frequencies, etc. So everything will eventually be running on that clean scalar energy, which is what they do on every other planet other than Earth. Those aliens that I joked about coming from a place, at a higher vibration, seeing that we're still driving 94 Civics on planet Earth and still, living in poverty, etc. The Sirius and the Pleiades and Arcturus, etc. They all run everything on scalar energy. And in Atlantis, I believe we ran everything on scalar energy as well. Actually, a lot of people think the reason that planes and boats disappear in the Bermuda Triangle is because there is this giant crystal that is buried under the ocean in the Atlantic Ocean, where the Bermuda Triangle is, that is left over from Atlantis, that was a scalar energy technology. Not just me, but also Edgar Casey, who I trust a lot. Both of us have seen in Atlantis that there were these giant glowing crystals that were the size of like literal, NFL football stadiums, that were creating the energy that powered everything. And there were no power lines. There were no power lines at all. Simply you would have a crystal in your home that would receive the scalar energy like on a relay from these giant crystals. And then that's a crystal in your home would power everything around you. And that's what they do when I do regression sessions of Sirius. That's what it's like there. That's what it's like in the Pleiades, etc. That's what we're going to move to eventually, but probably not till the 2040s. And from now until then, we're going to see just everything move from the fossil fuel burning to clean energy in the intermediary. So yeah, Rosemary, let's do a reading.
Hi. Yeah.
Hi. Thanks for joining.
And I'm so happy you picked me. I didn't think I was going to be picked, but anyway.
Lucky day.
So what do you see for me in 2024?
Yeah, just in general, or do you have any like specific?
I guess specifically, I have to move my office, and then I have to do that January, February, and hoping to find a place here in Venice, and hoping everything will go good. So I guess about that with the finances.
Okay, so let me see if I get any visions around that. Yeah, it's gonna work out good. You're gonna, I don't know, did you find the place already, or you're just looking, right?
Not yet, but
So you're gonna find, you're gonna come across a place that you like love, and it's not gonna work out, and then it'll be the next place you find after that that is gonna work out. You're gonna end up either with a loan or with something like a loan. I don't know if it's on cards or if it's a literal loan. That because you're gonna have to put some money up front
Yeah.
for this, and you're gonna find a wonderful influx of money coming in end of March and into April. End of March and into April. And everything's gonna work out great. You're gonna see like really great success in your business, especially June and July. You're gonna do some traveling around August, September. And overall it's gonna be a very good year. Some family events towards the end of the year.
Oh, good. Good.
So overall it's gonna be a very good year for you.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah. And
Awesome.
if you want to go more in depth, get when Alara's going to show us our special offer packages, and we got a 10% coupon for through January 2nd.
Yeah.
We can do
Oh, yeah.
a private reading as well, and we can go into very in depth what to expect in 2024 and beyond.
Yeah, that would be cool. And also I want to know about my star origin.
Yeah, star origins. I'm happy to read star origins on the private readings. I'm happy to read past life events. I'm happy to read soul contracts. I pretty much leave the door open where you can ask me anything at all, and I should be able to answer it. And some of the packages have 2 private readings, some have 3. So you get a progression of readings with me, not just a single reading.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Rosemary. We're gonna go to Teresa. Teresa, you want to unmute yourself?
Hi, thank you for taking my call.
Hi, Teresa. Yeah, thank you for joining. Are you enjoying the call?
Very much. Very
Yeah.
much.
What do you think about 2024? Are you excited?
Yeah, sounds like
Excited, anxious,
there's a lot
both?
of things to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you have any specific questions about 2024 for you, or do you want me to give you just an overall sense for you for the year?
I would like to know specifically about my life's mission.
Yeah.
I know I'm supposed to write stories, but these stories are not coming, so I don't know what to do.
You want to write, the stories are not coming. Stories
Yes.
are not coming. So there's a block. And the block is energetically, it's in the back of your throat chakra. It does root back to past life experiences of being humiliated for these stories that you put out. This was back in the 1300s, so 14th century, somewhere in Europe. I can see you were this artist and writer, and there was a specific taboo sort of piece of literature that you put out that was ridiculed, and you were kind of humiliated for it. And if like I suffered from bullying very badly when I was in school, if you ever suffered from bullying or anything in this life, like when you were a kid, like energetically, that's the same sort of energy, right? So the block within is about it's fear of being received, fear of being received. So your soul, the way I see it, is pushing you toward opening up this fearless, stepping into this fearless paradigm of this is who I am, and I am ready to be received however I'm received. And ironically, like when you step into that, like I've had to go through that in my own life. It's so funny, like for some odd reason Facebook just completely took me off their platform. They deleted my account one morning with no warning, for no reason. All my 10,000 business followers just evaporated back in 2018. And I took a huge financial hit from that. But the positive of that was that all of my old friends from my teen years, from childhood, from like I lost touch with like so many people from my past. And some of them I it kind of sucked. But a lot of them, it was actually a blessing, because it's like, you know what? Now I'm fully stepping into becoming this full-time service worker, healer, teacher. And I don't even have to worry about those people, because they can't even find me anymore, because Facebook deleted me off the map, right? So, that's just a funny, silly story from my own life. But the block in the back of the throat chakra, I can see for you, which kind of leaks toward the front of the throat chakra as well, is about being received. So if you first make an effort, heal that throat chakra, heal the solar plexus. And by the way, one of our classes in 2024, if you sign up for any of the packages, is healing your solar plexus chakra. So that's perfect. And in fact, if you do package C, you'll also get healing your throat chakra in April. But however you go about healing those chakras, that's just unlock that and be willing to be received however society, family, friends, etc. will receive you. And then that allows the flow of whatever the stories actually, the stories are there. The stories are going to come from, think of it as up here. You could think of it as a guide. You could think of it as a part of your consciousness that is the writer. And you just have to get through the fear that's, it may not be totally up here conscious, but it's somewhere in the subconscious, this fear around being received. So does some of that make sense? How does that feel?
Yeah, thank you. It helps a lot. I will work on my chakras. Thank you.
Well, it's not just about the chakras, but does it make sense also on some level, this the fear of reception?
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. And I've helped hundreds of people with this sort of thing over the years. So if I can help you one-on-one, make sure you get one of the packages. So, we can help you with that. Thank you for your presence.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Teresa. My voice is going. We're going to go to Layla. Layla, you want to unmute yourself?
Hello.
Hello.
Matthew, I'm one of those people who would love to live in community like the 60s.
Yeah, I feel it.
Yeah, and I'm curious what's going to happen with my living situation and how I can move forward into creating that.
Do you own your house?
I don't personally. My family owns this house.
Your family owns the house? Is it yours to potentially sell someday?
Yes.
Okay. So that's why I asked. So that's going to be, now it doesn't mean that this is necessarily the year for it. It may not be. Okay. But that will be the opportunity, I would say, eventually, is moving on from that house. Okay. And then using that, liquidity to maybe not even have to work per se, or at least create something remote, service mission type personal business. And then that will also give you the equity to live in community. Do you live out west?
Yes.
Are you in Arizona?
Not yet.
That northern Arizona may very well be where your community is that you end up living. And I've actually, I don't know any specifics, but I have heard from a few clients over the years that we're doing something like some off-grid. There's a lot of off-grid gridders in northern Arizona, around Flagstaff.
Okay,
So that may be
Matthew.
that's what I'm feeling. That may be where it ends up being. And you're right near Sedona, which is an incredibly powerful portal.
Yeah, I feel drawn to that.
So I don't know if 2024 is going to be the year that is in your life plan. I think 2025 is more likely. And if you think of it as 2024 is a year of preparation, where you want to step forward. Are you a healer?
Yes.
What do you do?
Anything.
Yeah, anything and everything. Yeah. I'm kind of the same way. Do you do it full-time or part-time?
I really just do it practice. I'm not doing it professionally.
So that's going to be, that's going to be the next step forward, is think about it as like, okay, envision yourself living off grid, right? But still wanting to be of service. Now, part of the service is just the community itself, but also like how you're contributing to the community as a healer, which is very Lemurian, very Pleiadian. And, you're definitely have had Lemurian lifetimes and Pleiadian lifetimes. And so think about like that energetic contribution, that service work contribution, fully developing that, or at least stepping to a much deeper level, stepping into that on a much deeper level in 2024. So you're prepared energetically. And then the more Capricorn-esque practical side of things, which I do intuit will be selling that home at some point and giving you the financial ability to do this. But in the meantime, 2024, my suggestion is to become a professional. And not just for you, but for anyone. One of our, Alara, you can look and maybe tell me which package it's in, but how to be a successful spiritual entrepreneur. This is my signature masterclass on how to, create your move from being, like you are, which is kind of doing it for practice, to doing things professionally and even full time if you like, because this was my journey. My journey was starting out doing these things for fun while still working other jobs, into creating it into a full-time career that sustains me and sustains my family. So, that
is in package
will
C.
be very helpful. Package C, yeah. So package C is that one, yeah.
Thank you, Matthew.
That's a 3-hour masterclass as well, and I give away all of my tips of the trade as far as like real practical things, as far as like even down to marketing. So it's both the energetic and the practical side of things in that, all wrapped up in that webinar.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope to work with you further.
Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank
Alara.
you, Layla. Thank you, Layla. Looking forward to seeing you stepping out into your healership.
Me too.
Alara, we've been talking so much about the packages. I wonder, should we, because it's, I know, some people might not be able to stay till the end for the activation, but maybe we should at least preview the packages so people can see what the difference between A, B, and C is.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we'll do the activation because
we'll do the timeline activation.
I'm just gonna share my screen. Give me 1 second. I'll share my screen. All right, you should be able to see it.
Yes. So, okay. So what's important to know, okay, a couple of things. One, these are the biggest, most robust, best value packages I've ever offered on this platform, or probably any platform, if I'm being honest. Okay. These are the best packages we've ever offered, best prices, and there's a coupon. Okay. So, and the coupon is expiring, right? It's only for a couple days.
Yeah, it expires on January 2nd.
January 2nd. Okay, so you've got a couple days. You got right until the day after New Year's to take advantage of the. How much is the coupon?
It's 10%, and the coupon code is 2024.
Perfect. I love it. That was a great idea. I love it. Okay, awesome. So 10% off. So yeah, these are by far the best prices we've ever offered. B and C. Okay, if you want the private sessions with me, go for B or C. And you still have a payment plan option for people, right?
Yes, a 2-part payment plan for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. So 10% off and a 2-part payment plan. There's no extra fee for the payment plan. So it's really, really affordable for you guys. B and C have the private sessions, okay? B, you get 2 private sessions. You get 1 in January and 1 in March. Okay, February is an off month for my program. I'll be in LA. And C, you get 1 in January, 1 in February, and 1 in April, right? So this is not just a one-off reading where you don't hear from me again. It's not a one-night stand, okay? We get to work together in a progression, all right? So whatever we don't get to in the first reading, we'll get to in March. Whatever we don't get to in March, we'll get to in April, okay? And you're going to get a lot of time with me to ask me any questions. You want to ask me about your star origins? You want to ask me about your past lives, Atlantis and Lemuria? You want to ask me about your relationships, your soul contracts with your husband, your sister, your mother, your coworker. You want to ask me about your career and your job trajectory. You want to ask me about life purpose. You want me to look into your natal chart. I hope you ask me to look in your natal chart. It's one of my favorite things to do, as you know, I'm an astrologer, right? I can look into anything you want me to, any questions on the table. Okay. I'm not one of those psychics that says, oh, no health questions, no legal questions. You can ask me anything, okay? I'll do my best to answer. So those are package B and C. B's got 2 private sessions. C's got 3 private sessions. Now, it's not just that. Any of the packages, you get access to my Ascending as One program, which is my signature group mentorship program, okay? We meet on Sundays for these wonderful 3-hour calls. People from all over the world. I have people from almost every continent, generally every month, that are joining in. And there's a Telegram group to make friends with and to work, if you want to, work with people on the suggested homework between calls, etc. But these are 3-hour calls, and with the schedules below, they're on Sundays. You can catch them live at 4 p.m. New York time, or you can watch the recording. And these are not required, because a lot of people are like, oh, I don't have 3 hours on Sundays. This is all optional. You could just get the packages to do the readings, but why not take advantage of the group work as well? January 7th, stepping in your highest vibration for 2024. January 14th, healing your solar plexus. January 21st, Sacred Geometry 101. February is an off month. Then March, we resume healing your heart chakra, a journey to inner earth. Okay. And I have literally had a personal experience, and which I will share on that call, with an inner earth being. It was the weirdest and wildest experience of my entire life. I had an experience with an inner earth being, and I'll talk all about that. And we'll literally take an astral journey to explore Agartha, to explore the inner earth. And then clearing geopathic stress from your property, which is really important, because did you know there are actual correlations between geopathic stress zones, including noxious zones, ley lines, underground water, and geopathic stress lines, that lead to a marked increase in the risk of cancer. I'm talking 100 to 200%. Okay. You do not want to have your bed on top of any of these lines or underground water. So if you don't know how to do these, there's books on all this stuff. But if you want to learn from someone that has, over many years, I've cleared this stuff from people's homes. Okay. I'm going to teach you how in that class. So that's all in package A, B, and C. You get all those classes. They're also, we do astrology work. So each class starts with me going over the particular specific astrological configurations for every day for the week to come. Okay. And I also go over the macro astrology, like I was doing a little bit in today's call with the outer planets and with the eclipses and with the north and south node and with Chiron and things like that. So you're going to, even if you don't really understand astrology very well, or you're just kind of, it's kind of interesting, but you don't really know the terminology and things like that. If you join Ascending as One, you are going to start to learn it, because you'll pick it up just through osmosis. A lot of people, that come into Ascending as One, they're like that. The astrology is kind of foreign to them. And then after 3 or 4 classes, they understand what I mean when I say Mars in Sagittarius, conjunct Mercury retrograde, squaring Neptune, which, by the way, is today. And it's like, okay, so it's a very creative time. It's a very flirtatious time. It's a very dreamy time. It's a great time for art. It's a great time for exercise. We could be feeling burned out. Okay. Mars in Sagittarius can be burning out our adrenals, right? So, and I try to describe it in the most practical ways as well. But we start out with astrology, then we go into the topic for the day. Then we do EFT tapping. If you've never done EFT tapping, it's a wonderful experience. Okay. I do that on every call. And then we finish off with a Q&A. And if time, I do readings as well. So join, if you can, those Sunday calls. But if you can't, you can watch the recording, or you can just get the readings. And then we're also packaging a whole bunch of recorded webinars. So let's say you don't have time on Sundays and you're not interested in those topics. You're going to be interested in some of these. We've got Mastering Your Intuition. We've got EFT tapping through the 7 main chakras. And these are all full length 2 to 3 hour courses. Keep scrolling if you don't mind. Well, I'll try to go through this fast. All about angels, archangels, and ascended masters and spirit guides. And you can read all these descriptions on the special offer page. Powerful visualization techniques for ascension, learning how to use your third eye. Clearing your inner blocks to activate your maximum financial abundance. Perfect for stepping into an 8-year, which we will talk about a little bit before I wrap up today. We'll have to talk about it being an 8 numerology year and why that's a really good thing. It's if you can harness the energies of this 8-year and of all the benevolent, Jupiter and Taurus, aside from all the stuff I was talking about, Jupiter and Taurus, ever since Jupiter entered Taurus in May, The Dow Jones Industrial Average, I saw someone in the comments or in the chat talking about the stock market, has shot up almost 5,000 points. Okay. I know I sound like Jim Cramer now, but it has been a long time since the stock market has shot up like that. Okay. All the stock markets are at all-time highs. Inflation is at the lowest it's been since 2020. Okay. All the economic indicators in the US at least are fantastic right now. Now, we may see a recession coming in 2024, which is why it's very important for you to learn how to do the law of attraction. And we have several classes on the law of attraction in these packages. And the first one is clearing your inner blocks to activate your maximum financial abundance. Spiritual grounding, cord cutting, and grounding 101. Okay. These are all recorded classes. And there's no obligation to do all of these, but they're all there if you want to. And why not? Okay. Instead of going to my website and purchasing these for $33 or $44 a piece, I'm giving them, I'm literally just handing them to you. Okay. Putting the past in the past. So those are all in package A, B, or C. Package B and C have more. Okay. Package B and C. We also have the VIP only calls where you can hear me, not just hear me and watch me, but also literally ask your questions of a group of 5 Sirian extraterrestrials that I channel once a month on Ascending as One. So every month on the VIP calls for Ascending as One, I get into Trance Channel and I connect with this group of 5 Sirians that have been connecting with me for quite some time. And they have the most fascinating things to say. Back in July, on our Ascending as One channeling call, the Sirians told the whole group, watch out for October. Something very big in your world is about to happen. And then October 7th happened. Okay. They told us on December call, watch for February. They said something in the Middle East is going to happen in February. Okay. So they have very interesting things to share, but it's not just, you know, telling us what's happening in the world. They coach us. They guide us on what they do on their planet, because on their planet, they tell us all the time how they live in tremendous peace and harmony and joy. There's no illness, there's no disease, there's no strife, there's no fighting. It's just a 24/7 joy, although it's not 24/7, they have different hours. It's a completely joyful experience. And so they tell us about that and they guide us on how to bring that to our little worlds, right? So you get to join those Sirian channel calls. And I also teach a topic. So we got rune casting and our spring equinox group activation. Okay. That's the information on the 2 private readings in item 11. And then you get more classes, dissolving the ego. This is package B. Healing with colors, intro to candle and moon magic. Okay. That magic is one of the best ways that you can harness the energies, especially if you want to do some magic. Get these packages with the 10% off discount. Do a ceremony, do a candle ritual on December 31st or January 1st to launch yourself into having the most abundant possible 2024. And then if you can, join our timeline, highest timeline activation call, stepping in your highest vibration for 2024 on January 7th. And it'll really, really amplify the energies for you and put yourself, you know, the energetic work that we do behind the scenes, it shows itself in our life. And you can, I bet you can think back to a period in your life when you were doing lots of meditation. Maybe you're doing yoga, maybe you're doing Tai Chi, maybe you're doing magic, maybe you were, you know, working with the astrology, whatever you were doing, you were working with the energies consciously. Okay. Not just kind of waiting for what life brings you, but you were kind of directing your life. And I bet you saw pretty cool results in the real world. So if you do the work behind the scenes and, you know, join in on these packages, do the work with us in Ascending as One, do the work with candle magic, etc. Not only that, change your reality by changing your words. I teach you how to use word magic, okay, to create amazing change in your life, how to move on completely from your ex. A lot of people after the October eclipses are going through relationship changes, so that'll be very helpful for you as well. Creating the 5DU, another activating class on, you know, creating the best version of self. And again, don't feel overwhelmed like you have to do all these. Pick and choose a couple of these webinars that you want to do. That's the best way to go about this. Human energy field 101. Okay, you want to learn about, I talked about with one of our callers about her throat chakra and solar plexus chakra. You learn all about the inner workings of the human energy field. That's just package B. package C, we've got even more. Okay, you get that third reading. You get membership for April in Ascending as One as well, which is healing your throat chakra, connecting with Lemuria, and nutrition for Ascension. And you get a whole bunch of other calls, as recorded calls as well. The other VIP group call, how to do shamanic drumming. And then the recorded calls, you get Awakening to the Divine Masculine. You get Navigating the Dark Night of the Soul. You get a deeper level of forgiveness and addiction relief for light workers. And like we talked about with Layla, how to be a successful spiritual entrepreneur, as well as 2 bonus activations. So as you can see, these are the biggest packages I've ever offered. Oh, even more. Sorry. Understanding your past lives, healing your inner child. I put so much in these packages, I forgot what I put in the packages. Okay. That's how much I threw in. So these are my gifts to you to get you launched on the most amazing possible 2024. I really hope you take advantage of it, especially considering we're offering a 10% off coupon. So a limited time only coupon.
And so I will put the coupon code on the page later today. So please do look out for that. But for those of you who are here right now, it is 2024. That is the code, right? So you can definitely use that starting right away. It's already ready to go. And I'm just going to quickly put where am I? I'm going to put the link to the special offer page here for everyone. That's here now, as well as the code 2024. Okay.
Awesome.
If you purchase a package, how long do you have access to all of the classes?
Forever.
Forever. Yeah. You can take as long as you need.
As long as you need, yeah. And look, I have heard from many people in the past that have gone through all of them, but I don't expect it. And if you do, like, A+, that's awesome. But I don't expect it. Most people, what's realistic? You're gonna do the readings with me. You're gonna join in on a couple of the Ascending as One calls when you have time. And you don't even have to join the whole call. They're 3 hours long. You could join for an hour or join for an hour and a half. It's totally fine. Drop in, drop out at your convenience, okay? And then pick a couple of the webinars that jump out to you. It's like, oh my God, I got to do this one. And do it. And, a lot of times you'll get in a flow and you'll be like, oh my God, that was awesome. Let me do another one, right?
So there's a question Layla is asking about how long the private readings are with you.
Yeah, the private readings are 20 minutes, but I work really fast. As you saw how much I was able to read for you, Layla, in what, 90 seconds? So extrapolate that. I really focus, get in a zone. I work as quickly as I can. I don't think this is hubris. I really believe I can tell you more in 20 minutes than most other psychics can in an hour, because I'm very connected and I work very quickly. Yeah,
and so in package B, there are 2 readings available, and in package C, there are 3
readings. Minimum of 2 readings.
Yeah. So if not everything is answered in the first reading, or you don't remember all the questions, well, you still have the second reading as well.
Exactly. And Laura, you and I have done readings together, and you've seen I work very quickly, don't I?
Yep, very quick and so complete. And I'm always astonished by the information that comes through. It's like, and it's lots of information. It doesn't feel like 20 minutes, to be honest. It feels like a lot of information, and I feel good about the information that I'm getting. So I never feel like I'm not getting enough.
Right. Good.
Yeah,
good.
For sure. Yeah, so please do check that out, Layla, and anybody else. The links are in the chat. Of course, the special offer page was also in the email, but the special code now is 2024. So that's a special bonus that Matthew and I discussed earlier today. So please do take advantage of that as well.
Yeah.
Good. All right. So we're going to do an activation, which we have never done before.
What a great way to finish off, right? We'll do an activation and help everyone that's on the live call and watching the recording. It's going to be a lot of people, to elevate and put yourself into the highest possible timeline for 2024. Right?
Yes, I'm excited because I know there's a lot of change going on for a lot of people. And so we could really use that extra energy and frequency and vibrations to assist us as we move forward in 2024. Yeah,
absolutely. So let's get started. So, of course, if you're driving or operating heavy machinery, if you're operating a crane or something, like, hold off. Okay. I always find that to be a funny disclaimer for, like, the spiritual community, because how many people, you know, have their headphones in and they're like literally operating a crane at the, you know, but you never know. But don't be driving. That's my ask. I hate when people are doing YouTube lives or Instagram lives or whatever when you're driving. It's like, brother, focus on the road, please.
I
There's enough
know.
taxis
Oh
out there
my
already.
goodness. It's like,
Just
come
make to your
on.
home, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So do not do this if you're driving. But other than that, let's get started. So
Yeah.
let's start with some nice deep
Or if you
breathing.
are driving, pull over and
Exactly.
stop.
Exactly. So we'll start with some nice deep breathing, and you can close your eyes if you'd like. Okay, eyes open or closed, it's totally up to you. And just, I like to actually put my hand right over my solar plexus. Speaking of the solar plexus, and to breathe deeply into my hands. Just starting by just relaxing the nervous system, getting nice and relaxed. Focus on the root chakra, which is energetic, you know, the energetic portion of you that, you know, on your body, that's the root of your spine. That's the base of your spine. So just imagine that area of your body. Imagine that there's this glowing red chakra there. Okay. About this big, about 6 inches in diameter. See it glowing and healthy and activated and spinning. And imagine that there's a column of light. You can make it any color you'd like from that root chakra all the way down between your feet and going all the way down to the center of the earth, connecting in to the center of planet Earth. And this is grounding and rooting. And also imagining that there's roots, literal tree roots, growing out of your feet and out of your toes, down into the earth below you. If you're in your home or an apartment, just imagine these tree roots growing down from your feet all the way down, connecting into the earth. You can even see your legs themselves becoming like tree trunks. You can even see your entire self becoming like a tree now. Imagine there's kind of like 2 strings, one that is going down the vertical midline, so right down your spine, and one that is going horizontally through your heart. And at the cross section of that vertical line and the horizontal line is your heart chakra. And this is getting you into complete balance. Imagine now there's 4 quadrants of you. Each quadrant is in perfect balance with one another. Imagine that you are the 4 directions. Your head is north, your base, your spine is south, your left arm is west, and your right arm is east. Seeing yourself as a compass, and now putting yourself into being in perfect harmony with the 4 directions. And I want you to imagine that you are in a beautiful forest. It's maybe a forest that you've been to, maybe one you've been to recently, or maybe one you remember from a while back. But that this forest is a very special place. It's a very peaceful place. It's a place you know well. It's a place you trust and feel safe in. Imagine it's a warm, comfortable day, or whatever your favorite weather is, even actually is even better. Whatever your favorite weather is happening on this day. You can hear and feel and perceive birds around you, animals around you. You can feel the peaceful and grounding presence of the earth below you. And I'd like you to imagine a series of doors, of floating doors, appearing in front of you in this forest. There might be 3, there might be 4, there might be 5. You might even see labels on these doors. The one on the left might say something like lower or lowest timeline. The one in the middle might say most likely timeline. The one all the way to the right might say highest possible timeline. And you might be able to perceive or even get a sense or a glimpse that there's essentially wormholes or portals that these doorways are entrances, that these doors are entrances into. And if you were to open up these doors, you'll be entering into a specific wormhole or a specific portal. And obviously the one on the left is going to be a lower frequency experience than the one all the way to the right. I want you to think before you enter into the doorway you're going to enter into, which hopefully will be the one on the right. I want you to think about some of the things that are 3, 4, or 5 things that are most important for you, that if they manifested in 2024 for you, you would be so thrilled. You would be so content at the end of the year, looking back if these specific things happened for you. So I want you to just think of those things for a minute. And I want you to think about why these things are important to you. What is it about them, if they were to manifest, that would be giving you something that you've either been missing or haven't fully manifested? And then I want you to think about 3 or 4 things that you know for sure are recurring obstacles or blockages for you. These could be specific fears that seem to dog you no matter what. These could be specific patterns of being, a behavior that maybe you even perceive your parents have or had, or maybe your grandparents had or had, been passed down through the lineages. Something that you just know on some level you've got to get over, but it's just always been an Achilles heel. So think about those things for a moment. What are those things for you? And just for fun, if you could take these 3, 4, or 5 things, these obstacles that have been a recurring issue for you, and distill them, creatively distill them, intuitively distill them into objects, what would they look like? Maybe they don't look pleasant, right? Maybe you don't even want to hold them, and you don't have to hold them. Once you distill each of these obstacles into an object, I'd like you to place it on the ground in front of you. And by the way, those doorways are still just kind of floating a few feet ahead of you. So taking these obstacles, morphing them into objects, and then placing them on the ground in front of you. And if it's not a single object, maybe it's a basket of objects. And as you look at now these 3, 4, 5, maybe for some of you 6 or 7 even objects in front of you that are representing your recurring obstacles, take a moment to just feel into, is there a part of you that is either afraid to or is resisting in any way if letting go of these? And if there is a part of you, I want you to just be with that part for a moment and tell that part of you it's okay. And I understand. I understand why you're afraid. I understand why you're resisting. I understand change is scary. And it's okay. We're going to be okay. I love you. Whether in your mind or out loud, speak that loving kindness to that shadow part of self that is afraid. And now we're going to ceremoniously, at the end of 2023 here, let go of these obstacles because we don't need them. And they're only going to try to push us towards those medium or, most likely or lower timelines. So for some of you, you might want to burn them in a fire. And you can imagine you're creating a bonfire. This is in our mind, so we can do it very quickly. And we're going to just burn each of these items ceremoniously. It's something we do in, magic when we do releasing ceremonies. We just burn the things. For some of you, you might prefer that there's a river beside you and you can throw these things into the river, or even an ocean beside you appears. Or perhaps some of you would like to have your angels, if you know who your specific guides and angels are, maybe come and take these away for you. It's up to you. This is your experience. This is your activation. However you feel called to, have these obstacles be ritualistically taken away or removed. I'm going to put mine in a fire because I'm very comfortable working with the element of fire. So. And you might feel a sense of like, whoa, that was scary, but I did it, right? Like, oof, that was scary, but I did it. And now that those things are gone, maybe even you feel lighter in your body. Maybe you even feel like you're buzzing now. And you might notice that you're being drawn towards, maybe that doorway all the way to the right is even glowing for you. It's welcoming you. And you're going to walk over to that doorway now, courageously put your hand on it, open the doorway, and you're now in a portal. And as you're going through this portal, you're now going to arrive at a scene. This is a future scene of something that's going to happen in 2024, something wonderful that's going to happen in 2024. And I want you to just see yourself enjoying that scene. What does it feel like? What does it look like? What does it smell like? If you're eating food, what does it taste like? Who are the people that are there? Take it in with all your senses and enjoy it. And I want you to smile as you're seeing it and feel a sense of joy, feel a sense of worthiness that, yes, this is meant for me and I'm doing it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Feel that sense of gratitude for whatever you're seeing. And then another portal is opening in the scene, a doorway, and you open it and you're going to move to another scene now, something else that happens in 2024 for you. And enjoy, embrace, and feel gratitude for this scene now. And another doorway opens, and as you get ready to step through that, it's going to bring you to another scene in 3, 2, 1 now. And you're seeing another wonderful scene of your highest timeline of 2024. And enjoy this one. And another doorway now opens, and we're going to go to one more scene from 2024 as you step through in 3, 2, 1 now, and arriving at another scene of a wonderful event that you're experiencing in 2024. And enjoy this one and be grateful for it. And as you step through one more portal, it's going to bring you to the end of 2024 to January 1st, 2025. In 3, 2, 1 now. And you're seeing yourself wherever you are on January 1st, 2025. And you're looking back at what a wonderful, incredible, expansive year it was for you. All the amazing things you just saw and so many more that you didn't see yet. And I'd like you to imagine that as you turn one way or another, there's a guide sitting next to you. Maybe it's an archangel, maybe it's a loved one from the other side. Maybe it's a guide that you know, or maybe even a new guide. And I want you to ask this guide, or maybe they're already going to tell you, what advice do you have for me on being in my highest timeline for 2024? And pay attention to any words, feelings, visions, etc. Now I want you to imagine that you're going to bottle up all of these wonderful visions and good energy that you saw during this into a ball of energy that's about this big, about 6 inches in diameter. Okay, make it into a ball of energy, all these wonderful visions of all the things you saw. Put them in there. Make it even brighter, make it glow with golden energy. And I want you to make 7 copies now and place one of each into each of your 7 chakras, starting with the crown and on down. 1 in the crown, 1 in the third eye, 1 in the throat, 1 in the heart, 1 in the solar plexus, 1 in the sacral, and 1 in the root. And now I want you to see as far, far above you as you could possibly imagine this source, this unlimited source of golden light, of golden energy. And it channels down into a column of light, coming all the way down into your crown, through all 7 of your main chakras, down through the black earth star chakra, which is about 1.5 feet below your feet, and all the way down to the center of the earth. And both your grounding cord, which we created before, and this golden stream of light are intertwined. And now see from your heart, this golden energy flow out to cover your entire auric field, to cover 6 feet all around you. Feel yourself embossed in this golden energy of abundance. You're feeling golden yourself. It's almost as if your skin and all your organs and your hair and everything is turned to gold. And as you once again see these tree roots from the bottoms of your feet and your toes connecting down into the earth, see your legs and your torso, again, seeing yourself turn into this very stable, very peaceful, very joyful tree. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Welcome back, everyone. Oh my goodness, that was so powerful. It's so interesting, the visions I had of the experiences in 2024. They were all celebrations, or being with people, and either being celebrated or just being with people, different just different things. It was wonderful. I absolutely loved it. And I found myself in different situations, different places. But I feel like I'm going to be doing a bit of traveling in 2024.
Wonderful.
So
that's great.
How was it all for how was it for all of you? So beautiful. That was lovely. Thank you. Thank you. I love that. Very powerful, right? That felt so full of warmth, love, and joy. Good. Thank you for this empowering process. So powerful and beautiful, right? And it's like, going into 2024 and then 2025, right? As we're looking back, right? And just even that feeling was of so much gratitude and so much growth and so much change and expansion. And then, when you were with your guide or angel or loved one, the message that they gave you, that too was so powerful and special. And for me, it was about trust yourself and stay out of fear. So it's like, and they were so emphatic about the stay out of fear. It's like, okay.
That was a big one for me. That, my father was sitting next to me, in spirit, and that was a big one for me as well. I think probably for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So so powerful. Yeah. Sandy said, I love that. So powerful. Dawn said that was so cool. Yeah. And you can always do it again. Obviously, right? You can go back and watch the recording or listen to the podcast and do it again. Go ahead.
And I was moving through that pretty quickly because of a limited time. But if you join our January 7th call, if you do any of the packages, we're going to do an activation similar to that, but a little different. That is going to be a whole hour. So it's going to be a really, really deep. And we're going to do some magical ritualistic work to activate as a group and amplify the energy as much as we possibly can. So I'd highly encourage, if you enjoyed this and you want to activate that even more, sign up for any of the packages and make sure you join in for the January 7th Stepping Your Highest Timeline for 2024 call.
Awesome. I love that. And that's what it's all about, right? We're at the end of one year, beginning of a new year. And it's not just the year, a new energy, right? So how can we step into our highest timeline for the next few years, 20 years, etc., right? So that was so, and Layla talks about the obstacles that were getting in the way. So I forgot all about that part, but it's like, I was so glad to put them in the fire,
me too. Oh, it felt so liberating.
Yeah.
When we do things ritualistically, sometimes they're just gone forever. And sometimes our soul says, well, you started and now here's the next step. And you get tested and then you have to release again and again.
Yeah.
But if you like that process of whether putting it in a fire or putting it in a river or having angels take it away or whatever, remember that. And when you feel these Achilles heels of yours come back, if they do, hopefully they don't, but if they do it again.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing with the work that we do. It's not always a one and done, right? So a lot of times
usually isn't. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. It's only one and done when the soul is completely ready, for it to be done in that moment.
Yeah.
If the soul is making it more of a progression of work for you, and ultimately it's up to the soul, you'll see it be more of a progression. And if you find a process that works well, if you like this process, repeat it.
Yeah.
Repeat it over and over.
I was just going to add really quickly, Matthew, that when we were doing putting the obstacles in the fire, one thing that I did was I thanked it for the blessings and the lessons. You know, as I was putting them in the fire, I was thanking them for the blessings and the lessons, you know, because that's why we have those obstacles, right? To teach us something, show us something about ourselves, you know.
And this is so relevant for this, just to bring everything full circle, which I love to do. We started talking, you know, at the beginning of this masterclass about Chiron stationing on this full moon. And this is something I wrote about in my article about this full moon yesterday, was that our shadow shows us the way to the light.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we find the light that we were meant to become through working with the shadow. And that's the essence of Chiron in astrology, in our charts. And it's through giving the acknowledgement and the gratitude toward the shadow aspects of self are easiest when we've overcome them more. But if you can give gratitude and appreciation ahead of time, even if you don't fully understand why you're thanking these shadow aspects of self, but just acknowledging that everything is meant to be, there are no mistakes, and these shadow aspects of self were meant to be with you, or are meant to be with you for whatever amount of time they are, that it accelerates the process of transmuting these into your light, into your service mission, into who you're meant to be for the world. So it's through the shadow that we find our own personal light.
Absolutely. And so that's why I'm always grateful for the challenges, the obstacles, the difficulties, whatever is happening. I'm grateful for it because it's showing me what I sometimes still need to work on, what I need to release, and just showing me a little bit more about who I am and how I'm functioning. Because sometimes we get caught up in every day, we don't realize stuff that's happening. So absolutely, always give gratitude for everything. Because I always say, everything is here to serve you for your highest good, right?
It is.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
1 second here.
How long are the one-on-one readings in the packages? There's 2 20-minute readings in package B and 3 20-minute readings in package C. So you can think of it as 40 minutes minimum or 60 minutes minimum, depending on the package.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, great question, Don. Thank you for asking again.
And before we wrap up, I just wanted to mention the numerology, because I know that we pitched that. It is an 8-year. 2024 is an 8-year. And, this was a 7-year, 2023, which was about discovering knowledge and furthering our connection with the angelic realms, right? 777 is the angel number of connecting with the other side, right? And that's one of the wonderful things that Saturn in Pisces has done, as I mentioned before, is creating mass spiritual awakening and mass, connections for even lay people, so to speak, with the other side. Whereas an 8-year we're coming into in 2024 is the opportunity to actualize as who you're meant to become for the planet. Actualize in your service mission. 8 is the number of actualization. It's the pinnacle of success, of power, and of abundance, right? So for those that are on this path of abundance, and please utilize the resources in these packages that I'm giving to you guys to maximize your potential here. But in an 8-year for the world, the opportunity, if you can effectively, like we move through those obstacles and effectively affirm that highest timeline for yourself energetically, and effectively use the law of attraction to your advantage, this can be literally the most prosperous year you've ever had. Even if there's an economic recession that begins, which isn't even guaranteed. It's likely, but it's not even guaranteed. It doesn't matter. If you use the spiritual principles, because this is an 8-year, you can see such a wonderful, prosperous year financially, and everything else you enjoy. Like you mentioned, travel and friendship and connection with others, anything that's health, right? Anything that's important to us.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that. And yeah, I forgot about that. You had mentioned that it's an 8-year. So of course, and that's why you were saying to Layla too, it's like, it's time for you to step into your, your soul mission work, your healing, etc., doing the work. This is the time. And for all of us to
Yeah.
to grow and to serve and do our work, inner work and outer work, right? So whatever happens to be.
We're given, think of it as 2024 is the most opportunistic year we've had to date.
Wow.
For those of us that are light, and I'm serious with that, those of us that are light workers, that are intentionally incarnated in this time period in the 21st century, in this transition between the age of Pisces and the age of Aquarius, right? Which we talked at length about. 2024 is the most opportunistic year yet. Despite anything that happens in the outside world, it is the most opportunistic year yet. Take advantage of it.
Beautiful. Wow.
And if you start the year off great, it puts you, it maximizes your potential. So
I love
thanks
it.
for doing this call. And if you feel called to, please join us for Ascending as One in January, for our January 7th, Step into Your Highest Vibration call, and all the other amazing perks of those packages as well.
Yes, please do take a look at the packages that Matthew's offering. Take advantage of them. They're very, very powerful. Lots of information, lots of wisdom, lots of guidance, lots of teaching, lots of transformation is available for you. And of course, his readings are amazing and quick, and so much that he gives in his readings. So definitely don't be fooled by the 20 minutes. It's not about the 20 minutes. It's about how much he gives in that time with you. So please do take a look at that. And of course, don't forget the discount code, coupon code 2024. My voice is starting to go now. So thank you so much, Matthew. Thank you so much, everybody, for all your questions, comments, and feedback in the chat as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And yeah, I mean, it's the end of the season 33.
Yeah.
So it's like
that's a master number, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so it's been a powerful season. It's been a powerful year.
Season 34, energetically speaking, your platform and you, because your platform is you in a way, it's all just like Ascending as One is me. Like, it's going to enter into its next stage of its spiritual evolution iteration. So I'm excited. I know you're gonna already have me back for season 34 at some point, but
yeah,
I'm excited to see what is the next step in the evolution for the Awaken to Happiness Now global series.
Exactly. There's a lot changing. There's a lot coming, but it's like, you know what? Let's bring it, right? Let's bring it. 2024 is going to be an amazing year for all of us. So let's bring all of us together on this journey and be in that energy of abundance, the energy of service work, whatever it is that we like to do and are called to do. So please do. So happy New Year, everyone, coming up.
Happy New Year.
And thank you so much for being a part of my journey. I so appreciate all of you. I love you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will be putting out the replay shortly in a few hours. So please do take advantage of watching it again, listening to it again, and of course, working with Matthew in his programs. They're awesome, amazing, powerful. I can't say enough about them. So definitely please do that. And I will see you all in the new year. Some of you who are in my inner circle, I'll see you tomorrow, but the rest of you, I will see you next year. Right? Thank you so much, everyone. Until next time, may you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all